Bonjour. Welcome to my kitchen. I wish I could say that in French too, but all I have for you today is bonjour. And I think bonne nuit is good night, so maybe I'll remember to say that at the end. Hi, I'm Philly. Welcome to my kitchen. I am not in France, as you might have suspected, right? And I have you all fooled. I'm actually here in Philadelphia, and I'm starting the first one of a series that I'm going to be doing this year called French Food at Home, and it's in honor of a cookbook of mine, French Food at Home, that I have neglected. And I mentioned on a little short that I made, I don't know if anyone is like me, but I may have a recipe addiction. I buy a lot of cookbooks. It's a little bit better now that everything is digital, so I had a lot of regular cookbooks, and I do love the feel of them. There's something about a real cookbook. And but I have a lot of digital cookbooks as well. I have a lot of digital recipes. I have binders of recipes I used to tear out of magazines for years. And it's funny because no matter how many recipes I tear or books I buy, I would never ever be able to make all of those recipes, right? But I get great pleasure of reading about food, reading how food is prepared, thinking about what it might taste like. But I realized that some of my cookbooks I just need to dig into. And this is one that I was very excited about when I think either I bought it for myself or Hubs got it for me. I used to watch Laura Calder on her show. It was on the cooking channel. I don't know if it's still there. And she just has this easy breezy attitude about her that is, for me, infectious. I would like to be like that in the kitchen. I think I'm a little bit too hyper. But and the food looked fabulous, and it looked so approachable, and I loved that. I love any cook or chef that can make food feel approachable, because that's what it should be, right? And especially French food, because I think French food has this reputation of being more fussy. So I decided that I was going to cook from this once a month for the rest of the year. We know that the Olympics are coming up this summer, and they're in Paris, and so I thought this would be a great focus for me this year in honor of that, and also in honor of a language that I took for 4 years in high school and know very little of still. In fact, I would like to think that my teacher, Mademoiselle Watt, would be very excited to know that I'm actually focusing on French cooking for a month with a live stream. So this is for you, Mademoiselle Watt. I do think she wished I knew more of the language still, but a lot of that has lost, because right, if you learn a language and you don't use it, you kind of lose it. So today, to start off, I felt like the most appropriate kind of recipes to start off would be apéritifs, which are appetizers. And I learned that it's apéro time is a phrase used saying it's kind of the time before dinner. So maybe an hour or so before dinner to kind of prep your palate, to kind of chill you down, and that would be apéro time. So I put 3 different apéritifs from this cookbook. It was Gougères, eggplant tartines, and there was one more. Tapenade crisps. And I had people vote on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, and Gougères won. So I actually would have been pleased with any of them, but who's not going to love Gougères? And you're probably saying, Philly, what are Gougères? Well, Gougères are puffs. Think about cream puffs that usually have like cream in them, or maybe chocolate in them, or eclairs in them. This is that kind of dough, but it's done savory style. It's a pâte choux, which means it's a dough pastry, and this dough, the choux dough, is a savory style. So we're not putting anything sweet in here. This is going to be perfect for a little cocktail to have with it, which we will be making also, because you know I would not let you down with that. So let me check on the chat and see who's joining us. And I see Barbara, happy Friday. TGIF, I'm very excited. It's Friday. I'm very excited to be doing a French apéro time here with y'all, and I hope it does not disappoint. So make sure that grab water, soda, or I know it's earlier where you are, but or if you feel like grabbing some wine or a cocktail, be my guest, or beer. And yes, I do. I love cookbooks. I love looking through cookbooks. And you know, the funny thing about this one is there are no pictures, because so sometimes if I'm buying a cookbook, it'll be dependent upon the picture to recipe ratio, just so I can visually get inspired. I so much loved her show that I bought this or was gifted. I think I bought it because I think I chose it without any pictures and still almost read it like a book. I was so excited. And she's got a wonderful style, very easygoing style. So I highly recommend. And Eugenia, hello. Yes, Julia, the iconic, the first, right, Eugenia? She's the one that really started it all. I mean, all of the Cooking Channel and the Food Network are really on her shoulders. She kind of started it all. And honestly, I don't know about y'all, but that's how I started watching cooking shows. It was before those networks. It was on PBS. I'm that food geek. It just kind of cracks me up. So I am that food geek that used to watch when Hubs and I were first married. On the weekends, we'd get our coffee. We had a 2-bedroom apartment. Get our coffee. We'd go back into the bedroom with the coffee, the TV on, which was probably this big because TVs were not like this back then. And I would be watching some of my cooking shows. He was so smitten that he would let me have these crazy shows on. And yeah, they just inspired me. I've always been inspired by cooking shows. So love cookbooks. Yes, and when they have menus, I agree. Barbara, I agree with Eugenia. And Barbara, you have one signed by Ina, the goat? I'm so envious. Oh my gosh. And so it's funny, we think about OG with Julia Childs, but then you think of certain icons and Ina comes to mind, right? Because she just really tries to make it seem simple. Again, that approachable, which I just love. So in any event, and you met her, oh my goodness. I think I've told this story before, but one of the other chefs I used to love watching and loved her recipes because I love Italian food was Giada. And I think I told this story, but one of my friends went to a book signing with Giada. This was probably 15 years ago. And she was so excited that she came up and it was time for her to sign. And Giada looked up and, was so friendly and cheerful. And my friend could not say a word. All she could say was, "You're so beautiful." And then afterwards, she felt like such a fool. But, we get starstruck with these chefs, right? So in any event, we're going to get started. So our plan today is to make the Gougères dough, the pâte choux, and then we will get them piped out. I say we, like you're going to help me. I wish you were here to help me. I wish you were here to see right across from me, but I will feel you in spirit. I'm going to get them piped out into the oven, which is already preheated. And then while they're baking, I'm going to make some shrimp really quick. It's actually in this is a bonus recipe, a super simple one. So I didn't even put the information down below because you don't even need the recipe for this. Super simple. By the way, the recipe for this is down below. It has all the amounts. And then I'm going to make a cocktail because it would not be apéro time if I did not have some little bites and a little cocktail. And it's French as well, so very excited about that. And just because I want to make sure I whet your appetite, it's called the Pink French 77. Oh my gosh. So just guess what that is. It's definitely related to the French 75, but is a little different, and you don't want to miss it. So yes, so first, let me put Laura Calder here, and let me get my notes, and let's get started. Oh, so Eugenia, you've made pâte choux. I have never made pâte choux, so this is a first on live stream. Am I crazy? My goodness, I think I am. Hi, Matthew. Welcome to the stream. And Virginia. Oh, so it is still on PBS. I did not know it. I will check it out because now we can save it, right? I use YouTube TV. I don't have cable anymore, but I know we can add to the library. Thank you, Virginia. I will check that out and put that on. See, I love my chats. I love my foodies because you all share such great information. And Archie is in the house. Matthew, by the way, was saying you made crawfish balls with Nassau grits. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing, Matthew. Good eating and enjoy. And Archie is threatening me with the pommes frites. So he had asked, Archie's known to always ask about French fries. And when he did on Twitter, I said to him, pommes frites? Because I do remember that from my French class. So it will not be pommes frites, but we will have Gougères. So let's talk about the recipe. And I've already done some measuring to expedite. So in our recipe, we are going, now I measured, as you all know that come and watch me, I have a scale I highly recommend, but in the recipe below, I'm getting myself all wet from my washcloth. In the recipe below, I have not only it in weight, which is a preferred way for anything like this, but I also have it in regular measurements that we're accustomed to here in the States. So we have 125 grams of all-purpose flour. And I just for easy mixing, I've not made this before. I know Eugenia said she had, and so you might think this is unnecessary, I don't know. I just used one of my little whisks, not the rainbow one, but maybe I'll get it out, Archie, and just kind of lightened it up a little bit for easy mixing. And then in a pot, which we're going to be melting in just a minute, I have 100 grams of unsalted butter, so that's good to go. I also have 3 eggs here that we're going to be adding to the dough. And I also measured 100 grams of one of the best cheese and the most iconic, I think, in a way, French cheese, and that's Gruyere. And she suggests coarsely shredding it, or you could cut it into cubes. So it's funny, because of the foodie nerd I am, I needed to do a little research before even doing a recipe, because I have not made this before. I've not made pâte choux, and I wanted to kind of know what I was getting into. And so I have to just read something from her book. This just shows how delightful she is. So she says, if you're new to choux pastry, as I was before I came to France, then reading the method, you'll never believe it can work, but it does. Things may get a bit splattery the first time, but there can be great joy in mess making. See, I love her. Besides, all else ceases to matter when you peek into the oven at your wee blobs of paste, and we see them puffing into perfect, airy, golden balls. And that's what we're going to be doing today. The traditional cheese for Gougères is Gruyere, but I don't see why you can't use cheddar or blue cheese. Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be good? I almost thought of that, but I'm going to stay classic for this first time. Or Parmigiano Reggiano, whatever else. Also, paprika and celery salt are worthy additions. So I love her style. I cannot recommend this one enough. So when she talks about the method, though, she does recommend using a wooden spoon. I am going to use a wooden spoon just for ease today. I saw most recipes that I looked up, other Gougères recipes, used mixers. I like the idea of just using a wooden spoon. I might regret that after I put a lot of muscle into it, but that's what we're going to do. So, but her recipe and her description, like her details below, was a little less detailed than some of the other recipes. So I feel really good that I had looked up some other information. So no offense, Laura, but I think she does it this way because she wants to be easy breezy, approachable, but I'm a little type A in the kitchen sometimes, maybe. And so I just felt like I needed to just do a little bit of background just to make sure I knew I was getting into. So we are going to get started, and I'm going to leave this open because as much as I've read this time and time again, I get a little nervous on stream, so I want to make sure I can peek around. So I'm going to bring you over to be doing this. Let me get the heat on first of all under my butter, and we're going to get that butter melted, and let's just check the chat. Oh, we're calling Barbarella. There you go, Arch. Matthew said, Saturday PBS Cooking is on tomorrow. It is, and that was, Matthew, I don't know if you missed it, that's what I used to always do when we were first married. I'd get up, have coffee, and watch PBS Cooking. That was my thing. And Eugenia, I'm so envious. She said she made her cream puffs at 10 or 11. Can I tell you, I bought my first cream puffs at like 20, but never have made them. Let me see here, and let me catch up. Everyone's saying hello, all the pleasantries. I love it. And Archie says, I'm a big fan of choux, made it a fair bit, but oh yeah, and you can see this man, he's in trouble because, no, he's not in trouble, but he has to leave. So he doesn't even have a microphone on. He's got an event. So he had to get all fancy in his suit and leave for an event. But Archie says, I'm a big fan of choux, made it a fair bit, but never in a savory way. Always profiteroles, eclairs, or choux buns. Nice. Yes, I've only had choux in a sweet way as well. Just elbow grease. Yes, I can do it, right? All right, so I've got my butter melting, so I'm going to get you all over there. I'm going to bring this ingredient here and my book, just so, and I'm going to kind of position you to the left a bit so that I can move to here when I'm actually mixing the dough, because I kind of want to like have this work out and make sense. So let me get you over. Sorry for the seasickness. Okay. And I do know I need to, let me see here. I know what I'll do, because then I can turn it this way. That's what I'll do. So let me get it down this way. I'm going to turn it there back to medium. Don't want it to cook too fast. All right, and then I will turn it this way once I do some mixing. You can see I have my pans ready with silpats. By the way, if you don't have silpats, you can use parchment paper. It was funny because she talks about greasing the pan with butter, and any other recipe I read said don't do that because they'll spread too much. So I'm using my silpats. So I don't know what you think, Eugenia. You'll have to let me know about that information. So let me also bring the chat over here so I can see. I have to adjust my working space here. All right, so the other ingredient that will be going into our pot of choux dough is salt and pepper. So I'm actually going to get that ready for all set so I can just dump it in. And we're going to need, let me just double check the recipe. I'm going to need a half teaspoon of salt and pepper. You can see my butter is starting to get all melty. So I'm going to get a half teaspoon of salt and pepper, and then it'll be ready to dump, because I feel like with this I'll feel much better if I just have all my ducks in a row, so to speak. All right, so salt, and that seems like a lot of pepper. Eugenia, that seems like a lot of pepper. Is that a lot of pepper? Like a half teaspoon of pepper and a half teaspoon of salt? Anyway, I'd love to know what you thought. And Laura, I'm not trying to like not listen to you. Okay, so our butter is melted. So now what we're gonna do, since our butter is melted, let me get my little recipe over here, is we are going to be, oh, I forgot to put it with the water. Oh my goodness, look at me. I sit there and I think I'm all ready. Where did I put the water? 250 milliliters of water. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me get my water ready. It'd be nice if this filly would read her directions. My word. Ugh. Eugenia's like, what are you doing here? It's funny because I didn't put it down on the recipe, which is why then I forgot. So it's always important to read the recipe multiple times, but even then, read it maybe 20 more times just to make sure you know what you're doing. So I'm measuring 250 milliliters of water in here, and I'm going to have to bring this back up. So let me just double check. Put the butter in a heavy saucepan with 1 cup, 250 milliliters of butter. I'm sorry, 250 milliliters of water, and then I had 100 grams of butter. And so now we're going to get this back up to a boil. So at least we were starting there. And it does say to add the salt and pepper at that point. And it does say a half teaspoon salt and pepper. So that must mean what yes, I love it. Archie is the best because he's just calming me. He's like, it's fine, Phil. I need a pin that says, it's fine, Phil, from Archie, because he's the best with that. All right, so we got everything going in here, and we're going to get it up. I'm going to get it up to a boil. This is the wooden spoon I'm going to use. I've had this for years. This is not as old as this one, which has seen better days, but I do love it. But this one I thought would be good because it's a little bit smaller. I also wasn't sure what size pan to use, if I'm being quite honest. I was putting so much thought. You would have no idea the things I think about when I'm getting ready for these streams. But I didn't want it too big and feel like I was flopping around. So who knows? This might have been the bad choice, but we shall see. And no matter what, it'll all work out, right? And that's how Laura Calder makes me feel when I used to watch her. All right, so we are just going to wait for this to bring to a boil, and then we're going to pull it away from the heat here. And when we do that, we are going to add the flour all at once and beat until smooth. So that's what we're going to be doing. Let me see what the chat was saying while we're waiting for it to boil. Eugenia said, yes, just about the time you think you've ruined it, it magically comes together. And Archie says there's an argument out there for how many milliliters in a U.S. cups. Some sites state 180 milliliters. Some say 250 milliliters. Let me look on this one. That's a really good, I didn't measure it by cups. I measured it. So if I'm looking, it looks to be about a cup, but it's not going to be exactly, because a cup is right here and 250 milliliters is right there. But I would just, if it was me, because I've had to do conversions before, I would just literally look it up on Google and see what happens. So if you're just joining us, by the way, we are making Gougères. We have put together 100 grams of unsalted butter with a half teaspoon of salt and pepper, as well as 250 milliliters of water, and we're bringing it up to a boil. And we will be needing milk also to brush on top. I saw other people use cream or butter, but she suggests milk, so I'm going to keep it simple. So my milk is here ready after I'm done, piping these out. And for the occasion, now you do not need to have a bag, but I did dig out my bags. I've used the Ziploc. I did dig out my bags. So you could just use a Ziploc, and you could just cut a hole. Cut a hole about 1/2 inch diameter is what they suggest. So let's just see. Now, you know what they say about watch pot. Yeah, that's what they say. But if you like content like this, please like and subscribe and share, just to let other people, other foodies know who enjoy coming into someone else's kitchen and just checking out what they're making. And tonight we are making French food. So let me see. I've got everything ready. And Eugenia says, I don't convert. I use metric weight and imperial as needed. Yes, I will tell you, who got me into definitely using the metric weight is my son. I mean, he definitely convinced me. It's those young ones, they can really get us changing. But I love that that's what you did. I knew that that's, kind of an important thing to do. All right, so it looks like we're going to be coming to a boil soon, which is good. So once it comes to a boil, we're going to pull it from the heat. It's kind of bubbling around the edges. I'm going to wait till it comes to a definite boil, not just simmering around the sides. And then, like I said, I have this flour, 125 grams of flour, all ready to go. All right, now let's see how much of a mess I can make. What do you think? Do you think it's going to be a big mess? I think so. But that's fun, right? And I have my eggs here ready. They're not going to be as great as the eggs from Archie's girls, but they will do. All right, we look pretty boiling there. So I'm going to take it off the heat. And I'm going to dump in my flour, because that's what she says to do. She says dump it in. And we are going to start mixing. Beat until smooth with a wooden spoon. So doesn't that, I'm going to bring y'all closer so you can see. Sorry for that. Troublesome. There we go. Beat until smooth with a wooden spoon. Okay. The mixture will pull away from the sides of the pan and form a ball, which you see it is. See? This is not hard, I will tell you. Ooh, it smells nice, actually. It smells really nice. Okay. So it says, put the pan back on low and beat for a minute or two to dry. So we're going to put it back here, turn you all over, bring you up a little bit, and put this on low and dry that out a little bit. Okay. Get it a little dried out. And then after we dry it out, we are going to need to let it cool a little bit. And I did with my research, she just says cool for 3 minutes. Which is fine, but then in most of the sites I looked at, they suggested waiting till it's a temperature of 140. Okay, so I'm drying this out. I'm not sure how long we dry it out, but we're drying it out. It's nice and smooth, has a good texture. Okay. All right. I don't know. It seems like maybe it's dried out enough. Hard to tell. Let me ask my experts. Eugenia, Is this dried out enough? Let's see what she says. It is a low flame, Arch. We're good. It's actually my lowest. It's my melt flame, which is the lowest flame. Lieutenant. So Eugenia, does it seem dry enough? Let me see. Looks great. Yay! See? I love having you guys. All right. So then we're going to put this over here to cool, and I'm going to get out my thermometer so I can check it for 140. And the reason we want to be careful about it cooling is otherwise the eggs will scramble, and that would be a shame. That would not be so fun. So I'm going to get my little thermometer here. Okay, and meanwhile, actually, I'm going to bring you over here just to give you something else interesting to look at. So let me bring you up a second. Right there. Let me just bring you over here because this is where we're going to be piping. There you go. All right, and you can see I have my milk ready. And actually, I'm going to put that there. There we go. We've got our eggs. Okay. And my directions. Okay, so here we go. So we've got all of our ducks in a row. So we're going to let this cool for a little bit. We're going to add the eggs one at a time, beating vigorously with our wooden spoon. We're looking for a smooth, soft, glossy paste that falls easily from the spoon, and then we'll stir in the cheese. Then we'll put everything in our pastry bags. Let me get my pastry bag out. Put everything in the pastry bag, which that won't all fit. I'll have to do it in some, I'll do half of it and then do the other half for the other tray that's over there. That's why I have 2 trays. And I'm going to pipe them into 1-inch rounds on the baking sheet, or you can just drop them by a spoonful. The other thing that they said you could use if you don't have a pastry bag, because I hate for anyone to ever be concerned, is you can use a melon baller, or if anyone has one of those smaller scoops, that would be perfect also. But I do have the bag, and I do know that it kind of helps expedite it, so that is what I'm going to do. Then we're going to brush them with the milk, and I've got my little brush here. Brush them with the milk, and let me put my Gruyere over there. There we go. And then we'll pop them in the oven. And then what I'm going to do is to kind of help with maximize the baking experience. That's my own term. She recommends baking at 375, that's Fahrenheit, and for 25 to 30 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start them for 50, because I read all over about convection and everything. Everyone has all different temperature ideas. Some drop their temperature, whatever, all that stuff. So I'm going to actually put them in 375 for 15 minutes, and then I'm going to switch it to convection bake, which for the last 15 minutes, which it may be a little less, I'll keep my eye on it. And I'm going to drop it to 350 because, as anyone knows, that you need to drop it 25 degrees if you're doing convection. That's kind of a little hack for that, so to speak. So there we go. And meanwhile, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little dish to crack my eggs into. Ina always recommends that, so I'll get my first egg cracking, and we'll check our dough, see the temperature. But let me just get this cracked at least. There we go. Excellent. Got the first one there, so this one's ready to go. Let's just check and see how this is. Well, right now you can see, you always hear me say how warm my place is. Right now it's 72 degrees. That is no joke. And we do not have our heat on. So it's just kind of crazy. Let's put it in and see what we are. Oh yeah, we're in the 50s, 155. Now we're in the 60s. Okay, so it is too warm. So I'm going to actually stir it a little bit just to get some air in and maybe cool it down a little bit. So we're also going to be making shrimp, and this salt and pepper shrimp that she has in her book is just so simple. You just take some shrimp, you put some oil in a pan, make it super hot, and add the shrimp. And pretty soon after you adding them, you add a pretty good amount. Well, it's a regular amount of salt, but a really good amount of pepper. So you're making salt and pepper shrimp. I always think of salt and pepper shrimp as being, you know, an Asian entree, or I guess it could be appetizer too. But yeah. So I'm gonna have those, but I'll let you experience it like you're really there, right? So let me check the chat, see what everyone's talking about. If it's putting a film on the bottom of the pan, it's good. Nice whisk. Are we beating the eggs first, Phil, or not? No, they recommend doing it, and all the ones I've read recommend doing them one at a time. So that's what we're gonna be doing. Thank you, Virginia. Love it. They just plop them in and go. And I have done, so you can all see yourself. I have done some things where, I'm trying to think where my train of thought was because I was looking at too many things. I have done some things where I've had to add eggs to hot things and temper them. So I do know, you know, having to be careful. And Eugenia said salt and pepper calamari is one of my favorites. Oh my gosh, that would definitely be one of my favorites too. Okay, so I definitely don't think 3 minutes is enough time to get this to cool down. My personal opinion. I'm gonna kind of spread it out a little bit. Just see how we're getting. Well, it's not, actually it's getting there. And this side's higher. Okay, so at least we're not in the 60s anymore. So we'll just chit chat for a few more minutes. Oh, but I'm gonna give you, I did want to share something for the cocktail tonight. I did get this in the honor for my pink 77. So got a little bit of champagne, some pink champagne, and as I said, very excited. Oh, and I wish DS was here, because if DS was here, he would also be very, very excited to know that this is going in the cocktail. So, yum. And I've got all my stuff all ready to go when that time comes. All right, let's give it a little more air. Okay, let's see how it's doing. Oh, it is. It's looking pretty good. Wow. Well, there you go. We are looking good. Okay, so hopefully I don't make scrambled eggs, but we're gonna crack on, right, Arch? That's what we're gonna do. So I've got my spoon ready, and make sure you can all see. Let me get you up there a little bit more so that you can see whether I mess up or not. I'm a glutton for punishment. And let's get started. Okay. I'm just going to get that whipped in, get that mixed in without getting it absolutely everywhere, getting that incorporated. Okay. All right. I think we're in business, friends. We are in business. No scrambled eggs with that one. And you can see it got all soupy, and then it kind of returns to its almost original state. It got completely incorporated. All right, we're ready for another one. Let's crack on. I love that Archie starts his videos with crack on. It is one of my favorite things. I never knew that was like a saying. I just did not know. So I love that. All right, let's get this one incorporated. Again, it becomes a sloppy, slimy mess, but we're going to get it worked in. And it's also interesting looking at the recipes, the different amounts of eggs, and I was even taking into consideration the amounts of flour, butter, and water they were using. And I just found it really interesting how they varied, which is totally fine, but it is amazing that they all work in spite of all being a little different. Okay, there we go. Getting my workout, especially in this, 71-degree apartment. Gotta love it. And I have a sweater on. I'm crazy. Because remember, I'm still in that time I still am getting those hot flashes. There we go. Okay, not getting one yet, but who knows? Sometimes live streams bring them on, right? Oh my goodness. Okay, let me get this one incorporated, then I'll check the chat. So it's our last egg, and after this, we're gonna be adding the cheese. It's definitely sloppy at the beginning. I love, Eugenia, I think you said it best. It kind of looks like it's all wrong, and then all of a sudden it comes together. You said that really well. And Eugenia, I'm just in awe of you and all the pâte choux you've made. I just think that's wonderful. Okay. You know, I have to say, part of the reason I wanted to not use a machine for this recipe today, part of it was to show the approachability and that you don't need a special machine, but Hubs is gone. So part of it's that I'm lazy. And if I don't, wait, oh no, he's not gone. He's on a call, but he's not gone yet, but he's gonna be gone. So I'm not gonna have someone to wash my dishes. So I thought to myself, you know what? I'd better do it this way or I'm gonna be knee deep in dishes or waist deep in dishes. Okay, so there is our dough. It has 3 eggs incorporated in it. Whoops, I saw a little bit of gloss. Let me just get that all mixed. Make sure everything's mixed well. Let me check the chat. Edith, hello. We are making Gougères and we're making some pâte choux right now. Pastry, not pastry, well I guess it's like a pastry, but we're making this dough and then we're gonna be adding some Gruyere in just a minute. Oh, traffic, that's always the worst. And Archie said, pomme dauphine is equal parts of choux and mashed potato, balled then fried. Oh my goodness. Bloody smashing, Arch, absolutely. And Chris asks, do we know we were using 3 eggs at the beginning no matter what? This was just the recipe. And DS, hello. Oh my gosh, so many foodie friends here. This is what was recommended from Laura Calder, the one that wrote the recipe. So that's a really good question, and foodies could talk about how you can make that decision, but this shows the dough so far. Chris, this is my first time making pâte choux. Now I'm gonna add the cheese, and it was, I have to look up how much this was. This was 100 grams Gruyere cheese, coarsely shredded. We're gonna get that in, and then I'll bring you guys all around so you can watch me pipe for the next hour. No, I'm just joking. So we'll get these piped out super quick, as fast as I can. The oven's ready to go, so don't have to worry about that. And look, I mean, what is not to like in here? We've got butter, we've got salt, pepper, flour that's been cooked, we have egg, and we have Gruyere. Pretty nice, that's all I'm gonna say. All right, so let me get you guys back over here. Let me flip you up. Okay. There you go. And I'm going to do some piping. Put y'all over here. And we have the milk for brushing. All right. So I'm going to start with this one and put this pan over here. So you know Philly's getting serious when she's not using her Ziploc bags, but you could use a Ziploc bag. I forget what the last thing I had piped that did not go as easily. I thought that I would try using a bag the next time. The Ziploc bags do work in a pinch, but the time I was thinking of, maybe it was when I was making my grandma's anise cookies. It just was not behaving very well. So all we're gonna do is I'm gonna take half of this, or try to get half of this in here. Hopefully that will work. I wish I had a bigger bag like that you see on TV. This is not a super big bag. It's just gonna have to do. So let me get this filled. Yeah, I wish I had one of those large bags, but alas, I do not. So this is what we got. Trying to get that down a little bit. I have a feeling it's gonna squeak out the sides because I'm getting it on the edges, and I'm sure Archie is probably laughing, right, Arch? Okay. Making a royal mess. There we go. That's gonna have to do for now. So let me getting it down a little. Squeak out these things at the end. Okay, so I do not have a, what do you call it, a 1/2 inch tip. So I'm just keeping this on. This was the best option for me instead of using Ziploc. So that's what we're gonna do. So now we're just gonna, we need to have them about 2 inches apart. So I'm just going to make, and they're gonna be a little misshapen because of my tip. We're making 1 inch balls. So let's see how well I can do this. Whoop! It's a little sticky. That's a piece of cheese. I'm pretty sure of it. That's funny. Okay. Let's try to get these fast. So Edith, was it traffic at New York or here in Philly? Because I saw you showed a picture of the shore. Maybe it was Atlantic City Expressway. That always has, so the cheese, the only thing with the coarse cheese is we have cheese hanging. The Atlantic City Expressway here out east can be a lot of fun. And Chris, what are you making tonight? Oopsie. See, yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if I would, I think I would do coarse cheese, but I would almost want to chop it a little bit because it is hanging a bit. Not that it matters, it's just more of a nuisance, but just giving you all some feedback on what I'm seeing. Okay, they smell so good, I'm not gonna lie. Smell amazing. And the one thing I am reminded, because I've not used a pastry bag in a while, is one of the things I really like about the pastry bag is the outside of it is grippier. It's just not smooth like plastic. So that part really does make it for easier, oh, and I've got some of these things smushing out, so let me just get rid of that. It makes for easier handling, and I kind of forgot about that because it's just so easy to like reach for the Ziploc. I am getting dough all over me. All right, let's get this one. Whoops, again, cheese, and then one more. All right, so we got that, and then we're gonna switch. And that made so that's 24. I think we're gonna have more than 50. Maybe she said 50 to 60, I'm not sure. Okay. Just get my fingers in there to separate this so I can get that dough in. Lovely. All right, let me check the chat. Disposables, yes, I don't have disposables. Finally, the grain of cheese is helpful. Yes, I think she wanted it to be thick so that you got that texture, which I can so appreciate, which is why I definitely went that way. But yes, then I wouldn't have the long things for sure. Let me just check what else was on the chat real quick before I do that. And not cooking tonight, Chris says. The Parkway, yes, that's what you were on. Honorary Dame, Arch, you're the best. And Greg, I'm so glad you popped in. I know. I took just a quick break. I've done the first tray, and I'm just about ready to pipe out the second tray. And Chris said, not cooking tonight, have leftovers for days. Probably going back to the ham and grits. Oh, and the red-eye gravy. A little jealous. All right, let me get this bag filled with the last bit. Oops. Kind of popping out all over the place. All right. And I love making messes. Can we just say that? Okay, let's get that in. Come on. There we go. Let's get some more in. It's like the sad sack. It's heavy with the dough that's still in there, so it is a hoot. So Greg, yeah, so we're doing the second set. So everyone, I'm glad you're all enjoying this little apéro time, and we'll be enjoying some apéros, some drinks too, some eats and drinks in no time. Okay, let me get this down. There we go. All right. So I'm going to just actually hold on to this and just get some of that out because it's going to literally come out the top because I have it so full. But I did that to myself, didn't I? So let me just get that in. Okay. Let me wipe. That came out. Bye, babe. Have fun. You'll have leftovers when you get back. Hubs is going out. He's got an event. So he'll have to get some when he gets back. All right, so let's get these going. Let's get this done. Oh, we're having some coming out the top. I'm just going to squeeze that out. Still coming out the top. It's coming out both ends, friends. Oh my goodness. Archie, you've got to be giggling at me. That's all. And Eugenia's probably wiping her brow thinking, oh my goodness, Phil. It's called a hot mess in the kitchen, right? Maybe scooping would be easier. No, scooping just takes longer. I'm impatient, as you all have come to know and love. Oh, and I have a break in my bag. So now it's coming out another end. I kind of feel like maybe my pastry bag got a little sick. Okay, this is ridiculous. So we are going to have to scoop the rest. So that's what we'll do. Alrighty, see, this too can happen to you. I don't want this to dissuade anyone. I feel like I've got a big tube of toothpaste. Let's squirt this out, use my scoop like I mentioned, and let's get that in. Oh my gosh, what? Well, this is going in the trash. I need to get that tip though, so I don't want to forget that. All right, so maybe scooping would be what I'd recommend. Actually, can I tell you what I'm thinking right now? I tried to make it easier on myself using my bags. My bag broke, I think because I had stuffed it so full and it's a thicker dough. But I wish I'd used the Ziploc. I'm telling you, if I used a Ziploc, this would not have happened. So speaking of which, that's what I'm going to do because that will still be quicker. Instead of getting a scoop, which I know will be slower, I want to get these in the oven. I had all my ingredients out so that we could get this done quickly. All right, so let's get this in here. So now this is the Philly way. Get our Ziploc. So actually what's cool is you can see both ways now. And you decide what you prefer. I just don't want people to have to worry about going and getting extra, equipment, not that bags are equipment, but extra expenses. Not everyone is as, nerdy as cooking as I am, and I just love getting all this stuff, right? But, okay, so let me put that to soak so that it can actually get off later when I wash that pot, because Hubs will be gone, so I'll have to do all the washing myself, alas. And then what you do is you squeeze there, and I have my scissors, slice off the top, and again, I'm looking for about a 1/2 inch, and let's go back into it. Okay. Okay, that one looks a little smaller. Trying to make them all the same size so they cook evenly because these last ones are a little bit bigger. Just add a tiny bit more, and then I'm going to smooth them with a little bit of milk like she suggested. Again, you all might do other things, but my little French icon chef, I want to kind of give her credit with how she did it and give it a try. Got a piece of cheese hanging there again. All right, I think we're good. This will have to go into the little choux grave. And now we're going to take our milk and put it in a little bowl. There we go. Am I flushed yet? Just wondering. Asking for a friend. I hadn't had a stream where some things went wrong, so I feel like, if I can be honest with y'all, streaming is one of the most humbling experiences I have had because, you know what, you're at the whim of the food, right? So the first thing I'm going to do I'm just going to get the tips down so they'll be round. So I'm just going to use the milk. You could do this with water, but I'm going to put milk on it anyway, and the milk's going to help it get golden. There we go. And honestly, afterwards, I don't know if I'm going to even need to do much brushing because enough is going to get on with my finger, but let's just see how it goes. So I'm just making these look. I'm trying to get the tips off. I kind of like the tips if I'm being honest, but every blog, every recipe I read says, smooth the tips, make them round. Okay. But my opinion, if you want to leave the tips on, leave the tips on. When I made my grandma's anise cookies the first times, mine had little tips and hers never did. And I love my grandma's cookies, but I kind of liked how it looked. So at the end of the day, you decide. Okay, so that's all rounded. I'm getting this one. There we go. Well, that's a tiny one. But that'll have to do. All right, so we're getting the tips. My oven is ready to go. I might quickly brush just a little bit more, but I really don't think it needs that much more. So let's just see. And then we're gonna put these to cook. And like I said, we're going to cook them at 375 regular oven for 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna switch it to convection for the last 15 and check them after 10 to see how they're doing. Now I was reading, I'd love to know with my choux experts here, I was reading some different things that said to enable them to stay crispy, they recommended turning off the oven and letting them sit in there for 30 minutes. And that helps them become crispy and not deflate and not get too soft and the like. So I thought that was really interesting. Now for today, that would kind of ruin my apéro time because I really want to be able to have a cocktail and have these little light appetizers. And they're gonna be my meal, honestly. This is kind of like the fanciest of girl dinners. I don't know if you heard about that trend, this summer. But yeah, so I just was wondering what your thoughts were of that. Do you leave yours sit in the oven for about a half hour just to kind of further dry out? So those of you who have made choux, I would love to know. All right, so again, this is just to help with the browning. I think I read some use cream, some use egg wash, so it's really whatever you choose. I loved the simplicity of the milk. You know what, I'm all for simple. I mean, we go to restaurants that can be quite fancy, but at home we can also keep it simple and approachable. So that's one of the things I liked about that. Okay, we are just about there. All right, there they go. So let me show y'all how my choux looks. There they are, ready to go in the oven. And I'm gonna get them in. Okay. Set my timer for 15 minutes. There we go, alrighty. Ta-da! That part's done, phew! All right, let me just get this dough that's going to become wallpaper paste on my wooden spoon, get that off, there we go, and I'm going to later try to get that removed. Maybe it won't be worth it. And we're gonna pitch this, and now we're gonna do the shrimp. So let me catch up on the chat, and let's make those salt and pepper shrimp, which will take just minutes, and then making a cocktail. So let me see what y'all are talking about. Bravest woman in Philly, oh you guys. Very, very kind. Oh, Virginia, you're so sweet. Yes, I agree. I was worried about that too. Eugenia is big. And honestly, you and I both know that would take a lot longer doing the scoop because it's going to stick to the scoop and they recommend dipping in water. I was like, I would much rather just see. But by the way, the Ziploc bag worked just fine. You can see why I use Ziplocs. And like Archie was saying, they're disposable. So, I mean, you could buy a disposable pastry bag, or you could use a Ziploc bag. So now the problem with Ziploc bags is you can't use the different tips. So if you need a tip for something, I know I have been known to try to put a tip in and have it be just a little bit smaller. And as long as it's not thick dough like that, it can handle it for a short bit of decorating. But yeah, you have to be careful. And Chef Archie's opinion was they dry out the inside too, leaving them in the oven. And Eugenia says, beats the heck out of my 2 working burners and 60-year-old oven. Oh my goodness. But you know what? The fact that your oven is 60 years old just reminds me of how, appliances used to be made, right? Anymore, you get some of these new things and they conk out way too soon, especially washing machines. Washing machines especially are a problem. All right, so now I'm getting out my shrimp. So I'm just doing this for me. So I have 7, well, some are jumbo. I think some of these are just large shrimp, but whatever. I have Sembo large to jumbo shrimp. And again, this is from her cookbook too. It's just salt and pepper shrimp, totally simple. And I'm gonna make this before I make my cocktail. So let me just check out a little bit more in the chat. I just took these out for a second. And Archie says the interior can be a bit moist unless you leave them to dry out. And there we go. You guys are wonderful. I know. See, DS, what I love about you is you notice the little things. So the flowers I usually have here, I usually replenish on the weekend. And so they were dropping petals. And so this is something I bought this winter. It's just like it's not an arborvitae, but it's like a mini cypress maybe. And it's great, and I've kept it alive, which makes me really happy. I've had it for probably, I think I got it in early December, so I'm just so pleased that it seems to be happy here. So yeah, I love that you notice those things. DS, Archie, you leave him be. He is the best. Well, I mean, you're all the best, so I don't want to position people, but you know. And then, is there one you want to win? So I was really curious about the eggplant, not the eggplant tagine, right? No, yes. That one I kind of was like, oh yeah, that's what I expect it to be. But the tapenade crisps, it's a recipe within a recipe. So in her book, and this is what I just love about her book. I'm getting, by the way, she's not paying me to say this. I'm getting nothing telling you about this, but I gotta see where she did it. It's where she talked about tapenade, and in there she had 2 like mini recipes that weren't technically the recipes, but I included that because I just thought it sounded really interesting. So now I can't find it, which is so me, but I know I will be able to find it. Let me see here. Oh, here it goes, ways with tapenade. So this is all, she talks about tapenade, this whole like 2/3 of the page. And at the bottom is a recipe for tapenade. But what she says there's 2 little takes on it. She said, one thing is a trick that comes from La Madeleine, a Michelin-starred restaurant in Burgundy. Now, I don't know if it's still there or that or whatnot. Chef Patrick Gaultier bakes tapenade crisps, which hold together magnificently and can be cut in a variety of shapes for serving with drinks or with soup or salad. For those, you preheat the oven to 375. You beat together a cup of smooth tapenade with 3/4 cup flour and 2 teaspoons lightly beaten egg white until completely smooth. You spread it on a nonstick baking sheet about about 1/8 of an inch thick, so pretty thin. You grate Parmigiano Reggiano over and you bake for 10 to 12 minutes. Doesn't that sound so interesting? You know I'm going to try that. I might have to try it. I might try it just on another month, you know, because let's just say once we do all these choices, maybe we kind of run out of time with, so I'm going to save that. I'm not sure when I'm going to do that, but I was so intrigued by that recipe. I thought that sounded so cool. But yes, so it's just a gold mine. It has so many good things. So salt and pepper. So let me get my, let me get it over. I'm going to do it over here. My pan. There's really not going to be anything to look at. So I'm not going to show y'all because it's just going to all come together super fast. So I'm going to get my pan pretty hot. So while it's hot, I did get my salt and pepper ready. You do about 1 part salt to 3 parts pepper, which I thought was really interesting. So it's very pepper forward. And then we just have oil. So I'm just going to get, I'm going to use this oil. So I can get it on there. I'm just going to use, you could use whatever oil. I'm going to be using olive oil. I know there's like, oh, don't use it with heat. And well, I'm going to be using my olive oil. So that's that. And then we'll be making a cocktail after we get these. And that's it. So literally get this hot, add some oil, put the shrimp in, toss them around pretty quickly, toss in the salt and pepper, and then we're good to go because you know shrimp cook very fast. Oh, and DS, I'm making my cocktail has elderflower, so you're going to want to hang out for that. Let me see here. Oh, I'm missing. May is in the house. Whoop, whoop. Oh my gosh, and I thought it was May. It's only February and we get May. How lovely is that? And I have mom jokes. That's what we could call my jokes. I know Archie has dad jokes, but these are my mom jokes. May, welcome to the stream. Oh my goodness. And then DS says, I don't enjoy gin. Okay, yes, so the cocktail has, in fact, whoopsie, almost lost all my salt and pepper. The cocktail, which we'll be making in a minute, does include some gin, but you know what, DS? You might like gin if you try Citadel, because I was not a real big gin person until Citadel. I love Citadel, and I cannot tell you that I'm super excited that this is actually a French gin, so it just seems really apropos. And then we have our elderflower, and then freshly squeezed lemon juice. There we go. And then a lemon twist at the end, and I'm going to show you, which you probably all already know, but show you how to be fancy. So I will show you that in a minute. And I even chilled my glass. My coupe is in there chilling, so it'll be super chilled, unlike me, but it'll feel so good because it'll help cool me down. All right, so let's check my pan. Yep, my pan feels good. So I'm going to put a little bit of oil in here. Oh, what the heck, I'm going to bring you guys over. It takes just a second. I'm going to bring you all over. So everyone close your eyes so you don't get car sick. Whoops. Okay, there we go. All right. And we're going to slide our shrimp in. I left the tails on. To be honest, I don't usually leave the tails on because it's a pain in the butt, but I thought I would. I figured I would for y'all. I'd be fancy for y'all. Okay, now we're going to be adding our salt and pepper. It's like a lot of seasoning, more than I'm definitely used to. I'm going to flip it to get it all going around. Okay. These are some well-seasoned shrimp. Now I just need to make sure they get all cooked. Look how pretty those got. Look how pretty those got. They're not quite done yet, but they're almost. And it's like, that's it. Like, that's it. Like, how quick is that? And I felt like this was perfect to have with the Gougères because the Gougères are a little fussy and these are not. Okay. Let me just get that, flip that one over, flip that one over. Boy, that one really has a lot of pepper on it. Holy cow. Okay. And that's all she wrote. So now I'm going to let them stay warm. I'm going to take them off in just a second. And let's make a cocktail. Does anyone else have any cocktails with them? Does anybody else? Anyone else drinking any? Let's see here. Here we go. All right, cocktail time. There we go. Awesome. Now this cocktail was not in Miss Calder's. Let me just flip it a little more. This cocktail, ooh, that is tasty. This cocktail was not in Miss Calder's book. This cocktail was from Chef GZ, Jeffrey Zakarian. You know I'm a staunch watcher of the kitchen. Every Saturday when we have lunch, poor Hubs has to brave through me watching the kitchen. I tape it, or I guess now it's called Add to the Library. So we watch it that way whenever there's not a rerun. And I love my kitchen because I love that there's a bunch of different chefs, a bunch of different perspectives and tastes and specialties and talents. So what we're going to do for this is we are going to be adding, oh, let me get my glass out. So the pink French 75. Look at the chill. There we go, getting all frosty. The pink French 75. Okay, so for this we are going, I need to get my notes. There we go. We are going to need, here we are. And again, it's the pink French 77. Did I say 75? It's a riff off the French 75. And for that, we're going to need 3 ounces of gin. So yes, if you don't like gin, that's the only issue. I'm going to get some ice here. Okay. Oh, and this big bottle that Hubs makes us get. Oh, goodness. Okay, 3 ounces of gin. Hopefully I don't spill. It is really heavy. That's 2 ounces. Oh my gosh, it's heavy. That's 1 ounce. And then we need 1.5 ounces of elderflower. So we got that. And of course, now I got to figure out where the 1.5 one is. Okay, it's right there. 1.5 ounces of elderflower. Okay, whoops, that went a little far, so I'm going to not put quite all that in. And then 1 ounce of lemon juice, fresh squeezed. I already have that. We're going to shake. Okay, we're going to double strain because we fancy. By the way, it smells just so amazing in here right now. And I'm going to actually stop only because I want some room for the champagne, which is the big reveal, the big ta-da. So let's get that champagne open. I got a mini bottle because, you know, that's the thing. Unless you have a bunch of people over, it is hard because champagne's best when you first have it, right? Okay. So, and this is pink champagne. And always be careful. I'm going to use my towel. All right, so we're going to twist. I'm going to open. Okay. And what I like to do is I like to hold from the top, twist from the bottom. And it's not, come on. Okay, that's not working. So now, if it doesn't work, see, I tried to use without hubs, and usually I can do this because I love me some champagne. I always do the bottom one. That always works. There we go. I just needed to get that give. Okay, then do it slowly. Just that little pop, and look at that little smoke, which means it's ready to go. Those bubbles are ready to go. Now, before we put the bubbles in, what I did is, you know, I took a vegetable peeler to get some lemon peel, and then I trimmed it. Now, because we fancy today, I'm trimming it. So trimmed it to make it straight. And then to make it be a twist, all you got to do is just kind of roll it together. Oh, it just broke. Well, roll it together, it'll be a tiny twist. And then it stays. Oh, I'm so sad. My twist did not. Okay, you know what? I'm getting another twist. Meanwhile, I'm going to show you where we are so far because my beeper went off. Let's see where we are. You can see. So I'm going to actually switch them in the spots. Convection won't matter, and then I'm going to get it turned to convection. So that's where we are so far. So let me just do that little switcheroo. Then I'm going to get another piece of lemon that I actually put in there. It's not as pretty, but it's not ripped because you know what? We have the time, so might as well. Let's see. Oh, it smells so amazingly good. I cannot even, woo! Get a little steam bath. I cannot even tell you how good it smells. There we go. They are looking beautiful. And of course, the ones at the top are a little toastier than the ones on the bottom, which is what you avoid when you have convection. With convection, what's nice is they all go evenly, which is one of the reasons I love my convection oven. So I couldn't not do a little convection. So now I'm going to do a timer of 10 minutes and then to check them. They might need 15. Okay, back to the drink. Let me get my lemon peel that's not broken. Oh, I'm so sad that happened. I did it fancy for Hubs once, just because, you know, it is nice to have things look pretty. Okay, so this one's not as fancy because it has the edge, but all you have to do to remedy that is trim off the edge. Where'd my little knife go? Oh, here it is. All you have to do is just trim off the edge. And then you just wrap. But I was being a little brisk with it, which is the problem. You just wrap it like this. And you kind of just give it a little bit of a squeeze. And then it'll stay. And it makes a cute little curly Q. There we go. And now I'm going to pour my champagne. There we go. And that's what makes it pink. And I'm doing it right to the top because I can. There we go. Look at that. Thank goodness for water tension, right? Look at that. See the beautiful little pink hue? And we have the lemon on top. Lovely. All right, let me put these back and we can start giving some things a taste while we, oh, that goes there. Start giving things a taste while we wait for the Gougères to finish. And I can catch up on the chat. And put that there. This is the tidy area. That's going to be the messy area, of course. And we don't need this. I did not get that dirty. So look at that. How nice is that? Okay. And let me see what I'm missing. Put these over here. Oh my gosh. I cannot even tell you how good it smells. It is just phenomenal. It is just ridiculous. Okay. Oh, and then fun fact. Remember I was telling you how warm it was? Let's see how warm it is now. Let's see. Here, I'm going to open this up. It was 71 last we looked. I feel like it's warmer. So I'm actually going to, yep, so it says 71 here. I think it's warmer. Oh, look what it says here. It says 74. I'm a little warm. I'm in a sweater, but all for you. All right, before I taste that cocktail, I'm also going to get the things that I'm going to put my lovely things on. 1 second. There we go. And I think I'll put the Gougères on there and the shrimp. Look at those shrimp. Look how pretty they are. Simple. Just simple. I'll put them here. Salt and pepper shrimp. And then I'm going to check the chat. I keep saying that and then I forget to. So I'm going to get that. Oh, let me get that there. The Gougères will go on the other side. And I'm going to taste this shrimp because I feel like I should and I'm starving. So let me taste this shrimp. So simple, so delicious. You know what I would love on that? I would love to put a little less salt and add some pecorino on there. It would almost make me feel like I'm having cacio e pepe shrimp. That could be a new thing. All right. Oh, those are good. Now let's taste the cocktail. My goodness. It is refreshing. Another sip. Balanced. If you don't care, so yes, if you don't like gin at all, you might not like it, because if you're very gin sensitive, but because I feel like I can taste a hint of gin in it, but it's not forward. The elderflower just kind of, so the elderflower is the sweetener in here to balance the lemon juice. And it just, but it almost like just creates, the gin that I have here that we like, the French gin, is very, you know, gin in of itself has so many different botanicals, and I feel like this one's a little more floral, so it marries great with the elderflower. It is such a Philly drink. And I don't mean Philly here, I mean Philly here. This is such an Amy drink. I adore that. That is excellent. That is a keeper. And you know, it's cool because of the, I'm gonna sit down a little bit while we're waiting for Gougères. It's cool because of the fact Let me just turn you all over a little bit. It's cool because of the fact of it being, you know, pink and festive and French. And see, yes, I'm moving the plant over so that we keep the plant in. But let me catch up with the chat. Let's see what you all are talking about. I feel like I've missed everything now. Let's see here. Oh, it was fun, May. I cannot wait for the Gougères to see how they turn out. Oh, okay. Barbara prefers vodka. You could try that and see how it is. I think it would be a little bracing for that, for this, but you could certainly try it. And Chris is also with that, is on the vodka train. And Eugenia says, I'll have elderflowers in about 8 weeks. Yes. Miss May. Absolutely. Oh, wait, I just lost something. I lost my place here. 16 mature bushes of elderflower. That's amazing. You have to. Did you share any pics? I would love to see a pic. And yes, DS, Archie and Hubs are big gin drinkers. So Chris, I'm telling you, Citadel, I was lukewarm to gin. I mean, I did like a well-balanced gin and tonic, just especially it sounds weird, on the beach. Like it just is a really thirst quenching, but not a strong one. And then Hubs got Boodles, and I did not like the gin and tonics with the Boodles, which is a very much English dry gin. The Citadel is delightful. It's just a little different. And of course, you could have wine with these, all this delicious stuff. Oh my gosh. Elderberry wine. Yes, Eugenia, that would be lovely. And Archie said, I'll send you a bottle of rhubarb gin. And Archie says, I'm a Rioja or Barolo guy. I'm an any wine girl, unless it's too sweet. And even then, you know, remember when I got this the other week, what I made, what was that called? The French Blonde, another great French drink. I got Lillet, and this is great in so many ways. It's even great just over ice. This is sweet. This is the only kind of sweet thing I would drink wine-wise. I don't like is it Muscat or Moscato? Some of those wines are just a little too sweet for me. I prefer one that doesn't have to be super dry, but I definitely like it to be balanced. So Lillet is wonderful. Not in the current cocktail, but wonderful. And Virginia says, and this is very well said, gin, like most foods, is fine if we know how to mix it. I had a cocktail some years ago back made with champagne and gin and powdered sugar. Wow. Oh, I've got to look that up, Virginia. I'm intrigued. I'm super intrigued. I love bubbly. So for me, mixing anything with whether it's champagne, Prosecco, Cava, I'm in. I love bubbly. Gin gives you a headache. Well, then that's not fun. That is not fun. And Archie says a clean botanical gin, strong in juniper, is delightful. The Spanish Reds, yes, I love those. You live so May, do you mean you live for Saint Germain, or do you live on Saint Germain Street? Just to clarify there. Wonderful. Oh, you love. I'm late to the game. You love Saint Germain. Yes, it is delicious. So Greg says he doesn't know anyone that likes gin. So I wonder, Greg, if it's what it's being mixed with. Because so like a Negroni, I don't care for, because even though I like gin in some drinks, Negroni is just gin, sweet vermouth, and Campari. It's too liquory for me. It's just too much. So what I like is a Negroni Sbagliato, which is just sweet vermouth, Campari, and then bubbly. So a little Prosecco, usually, that's what I usually have is Prosecco around. It's delightful. Oh my gosh, the smell. They look beautiful. I'm just looking at them. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to show you. And DS says it's 5 o'clock somewhere, and sometimes 4:20. It's 3 p.m. here. I'm drinking cider. Hey, that works. Decided to just have a beer. Had to take some pain meds earlier. Don't want to take too many risks, but it's after 4:20. Virginia, you go, girl. So Greg, you've got to know, my Hubs, when he goes to the liquor store and he sees the big bottle priced so much more efficiently than the smaller bottles, in his hub's brain thinks, well, then we need to save money and buy the big bottles. But it is a pain in my wrist. Like, it is literally hard to manipulate. Let me show you our Gougères, because they have been beckoning me, and the smell, I'm going to be driving all my neighbors wild. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me open it up and let some of the heat out, because you know it's going to, woo! Okay, oh my goodness. So the bottoms got more brown because of where they were located. The tops are lighter because of where they were located. So let me see, let me touch them. They feel hollow. I think the bottom ones are definitely done, so I'm going to take the bottom ones out. That's my executive decision based on making food that I do. Look at those. Look at those. The smell is just intoxicating. And then I'm going to put these in for a few more minutes. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do reverse sear on them. Chris is like, what? Meaning, I have them back on the top shelf. I'm going to put them at 375. Well, it's 4, that's fine. And then set my timer for 5 more minutes and see if we can't brown the tops a little bit. See? That's the kind of way my brain thinks. Oh my gosh, look at these. Okay, let's get you back over here and let's bring these Gougères over and get this apéro time officially started. All right. Let me see, get that down a little bit. There we go. Let me bring this over here. Get some Gougères on. Ho, 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 ho. They sound hollow, which is what they say. You want to make sure. Now mine, I will say, are probably some of the ugliest Gougères I've ever seen. They are not pretty, so I will get no points with that, but hopefully I will have many taste points. That's what I'm hoping. These, oh my gosh, they just look ridiculous. I mean, they smell, I'm not kidding when I say it smells intoxicating in here right now. Okay, oh my goodness. All right, so let's just take a look at what we've got assembled here. All right, so I am going to do something a little different to give you the full effect. Let me put this over here. And I'm going to move my light around. Okay. Let me see. Get just a little cocktail. Uh-oh, almost still a spillage. Okay. I need to move my light a little bit so it doesn't blind you when I bring you to show. And then put the lillet. All right, let's bring you around to see this goodness. Let me show you. Here we go. So look at that. There we go. Look at the Gougères. Yes, it's Christmas. And there we have our little cocktail. Wonderful apéro time in the city, apéro time in Philly, and now it's tasting time. You see my little ring light so that I don't look any worse than I already do. All right, let's bring these over. I'll put you all back and make sure it goes like this so I can see you. And bring the cocktail back over. Cheers. All right, I feel like I need a little fork for my shrimp. All right, so this is mine. No, just teasing. I probably could polish this off in no time. All right, so I've got to taste a Gougère. I have to. Oh my gosh. I gotta show you. Oh, they are just, look at that. See, it's all light and airy in there. They are stupid good. Oh. These are so good. I mean, they taste like air. They are so light. And what's amazing is, now I've had puffs before. So the pot of choux, like that choux dough, but having it with the salt and pepper and the Gruyere, it's just It's just something unexpected, and it's so delicious. These would be so good with a salad. Like instead of, I wouldn't put them on like croutons, but instead of, having bread, just having these to snack on. They're like air, delicious air. I wish I could share these all with you. I wish we could all gather on a table with some cocktails or wine or water or soda or whatever is your pleasure and enjoy these together. These are delightful. I cannot recommend enough. So good. And you saw some of my missteps, but you saw how easy they were. Just so delicious. And beer, Greg, yep, you could have a beer. Beer would be fine. It is pink, Arch. It's pink and it's Phil. And so that's no surprise, right? Thank you so much, Virginia. Oh, you guys are so sweet. I know, there is the cheese in there, and I could just get that Gruyere, Chris, and just start chomping on it. But you know what? I've been jonesing for a really good grilled cheese, and I like to do grilled cheese with Gruyere and a good cheddar. I find they make the best, let me turn that off. I find they make the best mix. These look better. They're more brown, much better. All right. Oh my goodness, so fun. I'm so excited I did this. I'm so thrilled for this stream, for this, but for this series. I'm excited to try new things. You know what, as cooks, or as chefs, we tend to get in our comfort zone, right? And there's good news with that, right? Because there's certain foods that we love and that we turn to and that bring us joy. But it really is nice pushing ourselves and trying some new things. And so for me, it was French cooking. I've never done a lot of it. So I just think this series, the whole rest of this year of 2024 is going to really push me. So super excited about that. And then Archie, that sounds amazing. He says, if I stuff them with smoked salmon, oh my gosh, the timer, sorry. There we go. If I fill them with smoked salmon and cream cheese, I cannot even imagine. That'd be great for breakfast, like a brunch. That'd be a wonderful brunch thing. I'm sorry, May. Oh, I do. I really wish there was a way we could wiggle our noses and you all would appear and we could sit at the table over there and I'd make you cocktails, I'd open some wine, beer, Greg, I have beer, and we could just enjoy it because food is meant for sharing. So that's the hard part about live streaming. I love sharing the thoughts and ideas and my mistakes and everything in its glory with you, but I wish I could actually share the food with you. Absolutely. Yes, the shrimp are delicious. In fact, I almost forgot about shrimp. And so the tails, I'm not going to use a fork. What am I saying? I'm going to do this. Now, that's a professional shrimper. There's no meat in there. One of my big beefs with cooking or like certain dishes, not the dishes that need all the shells and all that in there, but some of the ones they keep the shells on for prettiness. And I'm at a restaurant and trying to, as like nicely as possible, get that meat out because like that's like a nice little fingernail of meat, and I love shrimp, so like it kills me. So I can get my shrimp clean. The pepper is everything. I've never had salt and pepper shrimp. I've had it, I think, at a Chinese restaurant, but this just somehow feels different as an appetizer. It's great, super easy. You saw it took minutes, so easy. Wonderful. Well, friends, thank you so much. There's too many of you for me to even thank because I will forget somebody, but I appreciate everyone that popped in. Happy Friday, TGIF. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Coming up next week is Wings Wednesday, and I'm making actually a wings recipe from another YouTuber named DrewTube. He's popped on my streams many a time, and it's a honey chili oil wing. So he makes his own it's not, I wouldn't necessarily call it a chili crisp because it doesn't have a lot of the big things that regular chili crisp does, but he makes his homemade chili crisp kind of oil and then does the wings and then tosses it with a little sweetener to balance. And they tugged at me and I'm actually gonna make my own oil. Now I'm not gonna make like a jar like he might, but I'm gonna make a smaller amount to be able to use with the wings. So that's on Wednesday. So friends, have a glorious weekend. Thank you so much. I will say à bientôt, which means see you soon. But I could also say au revoir and bonne nuit. Have a wonderful evening. And from my house to yours, from my kitchen to yours, good eating. And until we eat again, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you all.